The town of Black Hollow prided itself on memory. It was the kind of New England town where history wasn't just remembered, it was displayed. Bronze plaques marked buildings older than the country itself. Tour guides recited the same approved stories every autumn. Children learned the town's founding dates before they learned long division. Nothing important, the town believed, had ever been forgotten. The journal proved otherwise. It was uncovered beneath the old meeting hall during a renovation meant to modernize the basement. Workers found it wrapped in oilcloth, sealed inside a wooden box blackened with age, buried deeper than the foundation should have allowed. No one could explain how it had been placed there without collapsing the building entirely. The leather cover was smooth, almost warm to the touch. No title. No author. Only a single date etched into the front, 1692. Inside, the handwriting was tight and frantic, ink pressed hard into the page as if the writer feared the words might escape. The journal belonged to Mercy Calder, a midwife accused of witchcraft during the town's earliest years. According to official records, Mercy had confessed, repented, and died quietly in prison. The journal said otherwise. It described secret meetings, whispered votes, and a town terrified of being remembered for the wrong reasons. Mercy wrote that she had been offered a choice. She could die as a witch, carrying the town's sins with her into the ground, or she could bind herself to them, preserving their truth in exchange for silence. They chose silence. The journal was placed in a display case at the Black Hollow Historical Society. That night, the pages rewrote themselves. The new writing was fresh, dark, and unmistakably modern. It described a man standing alone in his kitchen, coughing as smoke filled the room. It named him Thomas Reed, town councilman, descendant of one of Mercy's accusers. Thomas Reed died before dawn. The following night, the town clock struck 13. No one remembered the clock tower ever doing that before. It shouldn't have been possible. Yet the bell rang again the next night and the next. Always at 12:13 a.m. Always one bell too many. Some residents heard screams beneath the sound. Others heard whispering. A few heard nothing at all. Those people were the first to disappear. As the journal continued to rewrite itself, the town began to understand the pattern. It wasn't predicting the future. It was restoring it. Correcting the version of history Black Hollow had chosen to believe. The journal no longer focused on Mercy Calder. It focused on the town. Entries detailed crimes that had never been recorded, land stolen, testimonies falsified, bodies buried where streets now ran. It traced bloodlines forward through centuries, connecting modern names to ancient acts. Reading the journal didn't just reveal guilt. It claimed inheritance. Once a person read their name, the entry changed. What had been vague became specific. What had been possibility became certainty. Attempts to destroy the journal failed. Fire would not burn it. Water slid off the pages. When it was buried again, it returned by morning, resting on the steps of the meeting hall, open to a new entry written in a child's careful hand. By the 12th night, the town was unraveling. Families fled. Others barricaded themselves indoors. The journal grew thicker. Its tone changed. The writing became calmer. More confident. On the 13th night, the bell rang longer than ever before. Then it rang again. 14. Windows shattered across Black Hollow. Every clock stopped at once, frozen on a time that did not exist. Birds fell silent mid-flight. Beneath the ground, beneath the homes built over unmarked graves, something old shifted as if adjusting its weight. By morning, entire families were gone. No signs of struggle. No bodies. Just empty houses and unfinished meals. The journal lay in the town square, its pages filled to the margins, ink drying slowly. The final entry thanked the town. It explained that witnesses were no longer necessary. Memory, it wrote, could sustain itself. Weeks later, Black Hollow resumed life, what remained of it. Officials blamed hysteria. The clock tower was sealed. The journal vanished. The town convinced itself the nightmare had ended, until the book returned. It appeared quietly on a shelf in the elementary school library, catalogued and stamped like any other text. The pages were clean. The handwriting larger now. Simpler. Patient. Children gathered around it after school. The stories inside were easier to understand. They spoke of promises made long ago. Of a woman who had agreed to remember everything so others wouldn't have to. Of a town that decided forgetting was easier. The journal no longer named the guilty. It named replacements. That night, the bell rang again. And somewhere far beyond Black Hollow, someone who had never heard of the town woke suddenly, heart racing, with the faint sound of a pen scratching paper, and the unsettling feeling that something ancient had just learned their name. If you're listening to this story, it isn't because you were chosen. It's because you haven't been written yet. For now, you can still close the book. You can still look away. And if you want to remain with these stories a little longer, if you want to hear what whispers next, consider subscribing, leaving a comment, and sharing this tale with someone who still remembers how to listen. Because once the writing begins, it doesn't stop.